What's up guys, it's the Honest Outlaw here, and today we've got a pretty fun video for you. We are going to be talking about the KelTec P50. The KelTec P50 is a very unique gun that looks really weird without the magazine in it. But we'll go through some specs here real quick and put some filler in it for you so you can see what it looks like with the magazine. It looks like something the damn Space Marines would use on aliens. It's pretty cool, I have to admit. Cool looking, I should say. Before we go any further, I'll tell you what it is. So it is a pistol in 5.7, and 5.7 is a caliber made famous by the FN P90 and then the FN 5.7 pistol after that. And this gun actually has a lot in common with the P90, the PS90. In fact, it uses the same magazine. Well, these are actually Pro Mags, because KelTec's kind of it's a lower quality company than FN, obviously, so obviously they send you some lower quality magazines. That being said, it works similar to the P90, where it has a simple blowback design. However, this mechanism is on top as opposed to on the bottom. You can see that real easy if I open it up here. This is actually how you load the gun. The magazine release is actually right there. You pull down on it and it opens the entire top of the gun, and then you can see the operating system here with the dual recoil springs and so on. So that's pretty cool. But unlike the P90, where you put the magazine in like this, it actually flips upside down because it loads from the top instead of the bottom. So this gun actually ejects right here, which is kind of unique. If you hold this right below your face, it's going to hit you in the face. We'll see how the ejection pattern goes for lefties. I'm a right-handed shooter, so it should affect me less, but my wife's a left-handed shooter, so it'll be interesting to see how that ejects. The 5.7 is a caliber that was kind of designed for submachine guns, and before we get into this video, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between pistol caliber carbines and submachine guns. I think a lot of people think that if it makes a good submachine gun, it'll make a good pistol caliber carbine. And for those of you who watch the channel know I'm not the biggest fan of the P90, and I'll tell you why. Pistol caliber carbines have one bang per trigger pull, right? Whereas the FN 5.7 caliber in the P90 was kind of designed, in my opinion at least, for kind of a swarm of bees philosophy of use, where if you pull the trigger, 14 of these come out, and 14 5.7 rounds does work very effectively in close quarters, a lot more effectively in my opinion than one single 5.7 round. So it is a little bit lower on the power factor for me personally, especially considering that this is about you know, 2/3 the size of a rifle. That being said though, it does certainly have its place, and the good thing about 5.7, aside from the armor penetrating capabilities, theoretically, 5.56 has that too, by the way, but the good thing about it is it has very low recoil, and you get a very high magazine capacity for this particular gun and for the P90. The P90 mags hold 50 rounds, which is actually pretty cool, and obviously these do as well. So 50 rounds in a gun that only weighs 3.5 ounces certainly has its place in reality. Is it an effective gun? We'll have to see. It looks cool. It's got the cool heat shield. It's got a spot for vert grips or lights or whatever if you want. But remember, it's a pistol, so you put that on there. You got to be careful with that. It has a threaded barrel, which is really nice, 1/2 by 28, so you can run suppressors on it, which is really nice as well. We have a pistol grip on the back here, which is polymer, and then a lot of this looks stamped sheet metal to me, very reminiscent of guns that you would see in like World War II, kind of the top, in my personal opinion, or some cheaper subpar guns. And let's get this out of the way first. I haven't had good luck with KelTec products. I had the KSG, which worked really well, but then I had the KS7, which shot itself to pieces in 5 rounds. We had the tiny little 9mm pistol. That gun escapes me. Remember when you bought that? It was your concealed carry gun, one of the first concealed carry guns you ever bought. You hated that gun, and it shot itself apart too. I hated it so much I don't remember the name. Right. But anyway, maybe the PF9, I can't remember. Something like that. But the point is that KelTec makes innovative designs like this all the time, and they always look really cool, and they're always really unique, and they always come from a place of really awesome ingenuity, but they usually don't work that well. So I am a little concerned right off the bat that this one will be the same thing, but we'll have to see. I do have a Ferrotech brace on here, which is pretty sweet. I've seen a couple other options, especially the Picatinny rail mount, which probably would have been better off. However, I never went with Ferrotech before, so I bought one of these. I picked this up. It actually just screws into the back here, and then you put the little stabilizing brace on there. It screws into the back of the what looks to be a carbon fiber tube, and it is extremely light, but it already has taken one of my beard hairs, as you can see there. So be very careful with that. It will strip you of your face manhood. But other than that, it will help us stabilize the gun a lot better. This gun's so light you can obviously shoot it like a handgun, and we will do so, but it is nice to have more points of contact overall. So the gun's pretty sweet. If you're into 5.7, it's really sweet, and we're gonna take it down, shoot it, and we have some awesome goodness here. We got some blue tip ammunition, and then we also have some American Eagle, dare I say cheap ammunition. It's not cheap because any 5.7 is not cheap, but this is sort of cheaper ammunition. Oh, sorry, it's not hollow point, it's just FMJ. But the American Eagle is the cheapest 5.7 you can find right now, and that's still extremely expensive. So we're gonna be shooting 100 rounds today. We're gonna do 30 in each magazine twice, and then we'll do 20 in each magazine, and test some of the mag changes and stuff like that. But overall, it's a super cool gun, so even if it doesn't work, hell, at least it looks cool.
Filming you putting that in.
Yeah, don't know exactly how this thing works. That is not a very secure system, but we are where we're at.
Sometimes you just slap her in.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Not how we do it.
I can't get it to charge.
Okay.
All right, so we had a little mishap with the charging handle there. The gun wouldn't charge back the first time, but now we got it charged. We have it off safe. Find our dot here and we'll get it zeroed. All right, we'll find our 3-round group there, see how far off we are. Not too bad.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, 4 inches to the right and we'll be good.
Okay.
All right, first impression so far, it's got more recoil than the PS90, that's for sure, but it's a lighter gun too. It's only 3.5 pounds. It's got the 9-inch barrel on it, if I didn't mention that before, adding a lot of velocity to that 5.7, which is really nice. 5.7 is velocity dependent, so the longer the barrel, the more effective the cartridge. I like that. The brace should have been tapered here because it gets in the way of the safety pretty bad, so much so that it kind of sucks to use it. So I may end up going with the pick mount and using a different brace. This one doesn't seem to be very well thought out. The trigger is kind of, I got my beard again. The trigger's kind of long. The reset's kind of long as well. But it is crisp on the brakes, so it's good for accuracy, not so good for speed.
Dang, babe.
So that is our 12-yard group. 1, 2, 3.
Holy
That's really
moly.
impressive accuracy for a pistol caliber carbine.
And my God, am I glad we don't have to sight it in anymore. Well, apparently I misspoke.
The other thing that takes some getting used to is, looks like the spacer on the recoil spring free floats in there.
I noticed that.
Here, you can see it better on this side. That's a little weird to get used to, because it feels like your gun's falling apart as you're shooting it, and since it's a KelTec, I'm a little worried it's going to. We're pretty close.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Turn the dot up a bit. Well, it's a gun and it shoots, that's for sure. It's actually pretty fun, to be honest. Now, the gun does work with the brace folded. However, again, you have even more cumbersome when it comes to the safety there. I got 2 hits right in a row at 25 there with just from the hip. Oh, then I talk shit. Oh, we're out. Cool though. Now there's always give and take with weird designs and magazine changes. So you have to remember that it does carry 50 rounds, which is really nice. But if you do have a problem, it's usually the magazine feeding issue, something like that. You're gonna have to strip the mag quickly and reload. I would prefer, personally, a much easier system to mag change, like maybe not like an MP5, I guess, but like an AR9 or literally an MPX or anything out there that runs 30 to even 40 round magazines that are way quicker to reload than the PS or whatever the hell this is, the P50, not the PS90. It's so close to a PS90 that I'm like, oh, it's just the PS90. Well, that one chamber's a little bit better though. The first one got stuck and it was really hard to shoot. Let's try that Texas Star there. That was pretty easy. It's fast though. That's one thing about the 5.7, man. It may not have as much power as something like a 10mm or a 5.56, but the swarm of bees, like I said, it's real fast. I mean, I wouldn't stand in front of that. And we're out. Goes quick too. All right, so now we're gonna take the P50 out in the wind here at 50 yards on some of these 6-inch pepper poppers. Now I can hit these with like handguns a lot of times, depending on the handgun. A handgun with a red dot, I can usually hit them. And they will drop with 9mm, even from a handgun. So I kind of want to test the accuracy or the capability of me to shoot it. And then I also want to test this to power a little bit to see if it'll knock over my 9mm pepper poppers at 50. It will. Ah, fucker. So, I don't know if you just saw that, but a round ejected up, hit the brim of my hat, and came down behind my glasses right there,
Ooh.
Which is definitely a safety hazard. So that sucks, but it is what it is. That's the first time that has literally ever happened to me.
In the history of...
We're gonna tighten down the hatches a little bit here. Kind of stick my head over on the side a little bit now. Well, it's extremely accurate, I will say that. The 5.7 pistols that I've shot, including the Ruger, would not knock down those poppers from this distance, which is why I wanted to try it out. The added velocity of the 9-inch barrel definitely adds some power to it. Now, I know you guys are saying, you know, knocking down pepper poppers doesn't have a lot to do with what it would do to a human being. A watery substance, high velocity hits that, creates a temporal cavity, but still it is a good representation, at least for visual representation, of the fact that the double the barrel length has certainly more power with the added velocity. All right, we're gonna brace up against my tactical playset here, but before we do that, I did want to put the gun down and mention magazine storage. So one of the downsides to the 50 round mags or drum mags are always going to be magazine storage. You can see here, it's kind of difficult to find a spot. Look at my big ass here, but it's kind of difficult to find a spot to put magazines in. You have to find specialty magazine holsters or carriers in your LBE to actually use these magazines. So if this is going to be your full-time gun, keep that in mind, that it's not going to work with regular SMG pouches or even AR pouches. Maybe to work with some AR pouches. And we're out. That was kind of embarrassing, but hey, gives us a chance to reload.
Well, you can't really...
Yeah, you can't tell.
There's no lock back or...
Right. And the mag kind of just sits in here all willy-nilly too, which is super weird. But hey, it works for me. AR style charging handle probably would have been a lot better on the side, but hey. I gotta tell you, from our 15 yard zero that we have there, the rounds at 80 yards are actually like almost a foot above. This is actually kind of cool. So I'm aiming at that bottom of that IPSC target down there, and I'm actually hitting him in the neck. So if you're wondering what my hold is at 80, it's right at his dick. Now, as you can see, if I shoot at that big target, repeat shots at 80 yards is real easy because the recoil is really low. All right.
Are you already out?
Yeah.
You're having too much fun.
This is actually a really fun gun. So I give KelTec a lot of shit because I've had a bunch of KelTecs that don't work. And this is certainly a rough design. And what I mean by that is it has a lot of roughness to its manufacturing. If you use the PS90, everything is smooth. There's nothing that can get caught on anything. The manufacturing quality is better. The parts quality is better. You can tell the parts on this are cheap, and you can tell it's cheaply manufactured just because of all the sharp edges and all of the intricacies that come with the hard magazine loading process, and then the charging handle getting stuck and things like that. That being said, it has been extremely reliable. We ran 100 rounds through this just now in 10 minutes with nothing out of the box. We didn't lubricate this thing or anything, and it ran extremely well. So is it the most reliable KelTec I've ever had on the channel? I mean, it went through 100 rounds without malfunctioning, so it definitely is. Cool design, apparently done pretty well. Manufacturing quality only really matters if the gun doesn't work, right? If it continues to work, then it just essentially lowered the price. So you got about $1,000. If you have about $1,000 and you want a 5.7 caliber pistol caliber carbine, this is a fairly good option. It's lighter than the PS90, and it's got more standard controls than the PS90, which I like a lot. Basically an AR safety, basically an AR charging handle, basically an AR grip and trigger, at least in comparison to the PS90, which is extremely weird. That being said, are you going to have better reliability, durability, and long-term use with the PS90? Probably. But this is a pretty good option. It looks cool, it's shot well, it's really fun, and I didn't think I was going to like this, but I really do. So
you didn't have to load it.
Right, it's true. What are you going to do? But if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Accidentally turned it on, but you're sexy anyways, so I figured I'd let it roll.
Oh, thank you, babe.